Hi guys, it's Sherry here. So today we're going to be making this Ammonite pendant, and you can see that I used a copper color and I have a matching stone here. I have a braided leather chain, and let's get started working on this. Alright guys, so to start out, since summer is coming, I chose to use this I'm not even sure what this is called. It's like a shell of some sort, and the green, because I thought that looked really good together. So to begin, we're going to have our clay. This is Prima white clay, and I rolled it out on the 4th thickest setting. And the very first thing we're going to do is decide how exactly we want our piece to be sitting. So I know that I want this and this to kind of be together. So that's going to give me an idea of how I want to place this. This is going to be more on like an angle, I believe, is how I'm going to end up doing it. But this kind of gives me a general idea of how much clay I want to start out with. So I'm just going to cut around, and then I'm going to take my clay, put it on my tile, place this securely on here. You can see right here, this has like a lift. So we're going to want to build clay up underneath there. So the first thing we're going to do is just take some clay, kind of put into a thick noodle and build up underneath, so we can secure that and make sure that it's not going to move or fall as we are building up the rest of the clay. So just keep going around it. We just want to make sure that our piece does not fall or move. Okay. So that gives us a good base to start out with. See, that's not going anywhere. So we know that piece is nice and secure. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is figure out exactly how we want to place our stone. So I kind of want we want to put the bigger end there. No. I always think this is the hardest part, is trying to figure out how I want to place my stones. Okay, so I'm going to go with that up on an angle, and so I'm going to put a little clay right here on the side, so my other stone has something to kind of lean up against. Just kind of press that in there a bit. We're going to take a little bit of clay and just kind of shove it in there. Okay. So I know that is nice and secure. That is not going to move. Now we got to make sure we have clay under our stone as well to secure that. So we're just going to shove some under there. And a little bit on this side as well. Okay. So that's how we're going to start out with this piece. Now we know our piece is nice and secure. So our next step is to take our sides and slowly just kind of push them up. And we're going to get right at the top of the edge. We're not going over it. We're just going right at the top. And I'm just kind of pulling and turning the clay with my finger, okay? Leave the top alone for right now. We're just going to worry about the bottom and the sides. We want to get that as nice as we can right now. If your clay goes over a little bit, we can clean it up, so don't worry about that. Okay. So now we're going to build up the top here. Just get some clay and start building your top. As I'm looking at this, I really don't like the way that stone is in there. So I'm actually going to take this stone out. I think it's too big. So I am going to see if I have another one. I want something that's real earthy tone. Do you like this one because it's got some neat texture to it? So now I'm just actually going to push this in a bit since I'm changing my stone. And I'm going to kind of work this in there and see how that one looks. I think that one may work out better. Let's see if I have thinking this one might be our winner. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I change my mind a lot during my projects. I have this idea that I think, oh, this stone's going to look great, and then I see it and I'm like, no, it doesn't. So, all right. So our next step is I want to actually thin this out a bit because I think I have too much going around. So I'm going to take some of that away. Okay. All right, so smooth out your sides here. And I want to take my edge at my top and kind of start putting it up like a teardrop. All right, now we're going to just clean up the tops here. Just kind of scrape that away very carefully. Make sure your piece is nice and smooth. And the next step you're going to do is get some noodles. I'm going to use my tool to make it simpler. Okay. Get 2 of them. I'm just going to kind of make it a little thinner. So you're going to roll and go to the side. Okay. And take your 2 ends, and then we're just going to slowly twist them. We're going to make a braid. So keep twisting. Okay, so take your braid. And work it around. So kind of stick it at the edge here. Just lightly pat it down so you know that it's nice and secure. Don't pat it down too hard though, because you do not want to mush your piece. And I'm going to cut it off right here. I'm actually going to cut off right here because my other rope is going to go there. So now I'm going to do the same thing. Make these a little skinnier. And we're going to take our ends and once again turn them. You can make this as tight or loose as you prefer. Okay, now I want this one to be a little tighter. I'm going to go around here. Spin it. Okay, so I want to put this on an angle. Push that down. I'm actually going to take that off. And wrap that one around. And I'm also going to cut this one on an angle so they match up nicely. See how they lined up real nice? So it looks like one continuous rope. And we're just going to take this and kind of push this down a little. Gonna lift this up a little bit. And just pull it just a tiny bit so it matches right up against that. Okay. Now I just want to blend this little section up a little bit better. All right, that I am very happy with. So get rid of that. This, I'm actually just going to take this and kind of make it a little bit more thinner, and what we're going to do here, once we fix the top, let's get this nice and smooth up here. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little mark where I want my holes to go for my chain. And this will give me a good starting point. And I can either drill them after I bake this in the oven, or I can just make my hole now, which that's what I prefer. So I'm going to take one of my needle points and just go straight through. Okay, and then I'm just going to slowly work it into like a circle like this. Do the other side. And you can see. Now I'm actually going to take a small piece of wood, and I'm just going to stick it right in the hole to help hold this in place so it doesn't get ruined or get distorted. Make sure everything is lined up properly. Okay, so that will stay there until it's done being baked. So our next step is to make some designs on here. So I'm going to get my noodle. Okay, make sure it has a nice sharp top. I'm just going to come up here, and I'm slowly going to make a circle almost. I'm going to slowly come back down. And then pat it down where I want it exactly. I'm going to come over here and slice. And I'm just going to push this down nicely to secure it. Okay. Let's do that once again. Get our sharp edge. We're going to go on the side here. I want to bring this up. I'm going to spread that. Okay, so now we're going to work on the other side. And turn it. Oops. And we're going to go down. Make another sharp edge, and we're going to connect this right next to it. Oops. All right, so now I have a tiny one, and I'm just going to come right down here. Actually, I'm going to start on this top area. And kind of push it down and connect it over to the circle. Looks like nice waves, nice ocean waves. And we're just going to do a few on the bottom. Kind of stick that in place. Okay, so now we're just going to pat this down. And we're just going to there we go. I'm going to continue doing that all the way around. Okay guys, so I got all my little pieces on here. I got them round, and I got my waves going here. I'm very happy with the way it looks. So I'm actually going to very carefully, and you don't have to do this, but I am going to very carefully take my piece off. I'll lift it up. Actually, let me do it this way. Okay, very carefully. And I'm going to take my little stamps to mark my piece. I use these. Okay, and then very carefully set it back down. Make sure all your pieces are exactly where they're supposed to be. And then we're going to bake this for 1 hour at 275. And when they cool off, or when it cools off, we'll come back and finish it. All right, guys, so now our piece is completely baked and cooled off. So the first thing that we got to do is pull the wood out. Okay. Our hole looks pretty good. Put this all off to the side. I'm going to get a plain piece of paper to work on. And the color that I'm going to use today is this one. And I thought it would look really good with the side sewn. So we're going to try that one today. And all we're going to do is just paint over it first. And inside the hole. I'm actually going to do 2 coats on this one. Make sure you're getting all the little nooks and crannies. Okay. Don't worry if you get the paint anywhere else, because we could clean that all up. So the Ammonite can be wiped up fairly easy. Just make sure you're getting all the crevices, so don't miss any of those. Okay, so I'm going to let that first coat dry. Then I'm going to do a second coat, and then after that dries, we'll come back and show you how to shade it and give it a little bit more depth to it, okay? Okay, guys, so now my piece is completely dry. I painted over it twice. So now I'm going to use my black. Make sure you have a towel handy or a rag. And then you're just going to go over this with black. I put a little water on it. Now I'm going to get my towel and I'm going to wipe it. Want some more into these crevices of the rope. Just do it until you get the color that you desire, and how much shading you want. That's going to be up to you. I'm going more for like an antique look. Once you're completely satisfied with your look, then you're going to let this completely dry, and then we're going to clean the shell or the ammonite. Okay, so now I'm going to get my fine tip paintbrush, and then I'm just going to kind of highlight my lines just a little bit. Let's do this carefully. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to take one of my sticks and I'm just going to kind of brush over the ammonite and get all this old dry paint off of it. I like using these sticks because you can really get close to the edge and not ruin your piece. Okay, now I'm going to let that 100% dry before I do anything else to it. And when we come back, we're actually going to be going and doing the Sculpey Gloss Glaze. Now that everything is dry, the first thing we're going to do before we glaze it is I cut a leather braided cord to about 18 inches, and I put one side on already, but I'm going to show you how I did that in a second. So first we're going to take this and just kind of push it through. All right. Okay. And you're going to need super glue. This is the best one that I have found so far. And I have my end tips. I have one of these. And then two of your ring closures and a lobster claw clasp. So first, we want to make sure this is going to be open wide enough. All right. Now we're going to take our pin, pull that through all the way up. I'm just going to cut off just a tiny bit here. Okay. And now we're just going to take it and we're going to roll it over so we get a complete little hoop. All right. Now, make sure that your cord will fit through. All right, so next we are going to take our super glue. I'm going to stick some in there. And then carefully get your cord and push it all the way in. And then we're going to clamp this all the way around to help secure it in place. Okay. So our next step is to get your ring. We will put it on one side and close it. Then we'll get our next ring. Come onto this side and then get your clasp. Put that on and then securely close it all the way. Okay. Alrighty, so now our last step is going to be putting our glaze on. Get your paintbrush and then just go over your piece. This will help protect the paint on here, and it will shine it up real nice. Carefully go around your cord. I'm going to do the back side right away, and then I'm going to hang it up to dry. All right, let that hang and dry. The only thing that we have left to do is clean the Ammonite. So you just have to wipe it down. And the same thing with your stone on the side. And there you go, guys. Here's the back. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed creating this piece along with me. And if you did like it, please like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.